if you happen to be a YouTube consumer the way that I am, which is pretty much throughout the day, anytime I turn my phone on, I consume a YouTube video. And habitually, I have tried to make an effort to make all of that consumption educational, so that whenever I'm spending time, or wasting time in my opinion, watching something else, I want it to be educational, I want it to teach me something, I want it to be creative. You know, and as a single father of 6, I hold the same standards for my kids, although it's not always quite as easy to stay on top of all of them about it. But one of my favorite photographers on YouTube is Peter Coulson. And I love consuming his material no matter what it is. There's just something about... I could just watch Peter shoot all day long. But he creates incredibly beautiful images. You know, and I've been told that I'm a talented photographer plenty of times. Man, you're really good. Wow, this came out great. Oh, this is exactly what we wanted. Oh, this is perfect, whatever, whatever. And frequently, I feel like that's simply assuaging my ego. But sometimes I think, you know what? I really did nail that shot. I did get that shot that I wanted. Here's a shot that I took recently that I set up, took time to set up, and I got what I wanted. And I walked away and I look at that shot and I go, I got what I wanted. But I think for the viewer, you may be slightly confused maybe, or misdirected by looking at the image and thinking, is that what he wanted? Was that a home run? Or was, you know, I don't know. I really don't know. The feedback I've gotten from that image has all been praise and positive. But when I know that I have gotten what I want, I feel successful. I feel like I've achieved what I set out to do. I got the image I was planning out, the image I had in my head, the image I was putting together, whatever it is. I got the image I wanted. But to be frank, that's probably 10, 15, maybe 20% of the time. While still at this point, after being a photographer for 20 years and dabbling in so many other things at the same time, the rest of that time, maybe the other 80%, I'm still learning. I'm still figuring things out. I'm still trying things. But I watch Peter Coulson and I watch his process, and then he puts it together, and then he takes the test shot and he looks at the computer and he goes, okay, black image, okay, here's the lighting, let's try this, and process. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, final image done. And I'm like, holy hell. But he followed his process. Now, as a business owner, I have been an entrepreneur and a business owner since the age of 18, and I'm 46 now, and I've had some very successful companies. And all of my companies, whether it was video and photo based, whether it was talent based, music based, or on the other side of things, real estate based, construction based, service based, I had a tree service, a landscape service, all of my companies, all of my brands, I have developed processes with. For each of my brands, for whatever the job is, I have created a process. And getting to that process that you utilize continually and ongoing does take time. So you go through the trips and the hoops and the falls and the failures, as people call it. But you go through the learning phase until you get to the point where the process is successful, where the majority of the time, the process achieves the goal. But it doesn't always. No matter who you are, no matter where you're at in your career, no matter how long you've been doing something, it doesn't always. But the more you work at it, the more you perfect the process, the more you dial in the process, the higher the percentage rate of nailing that goal, getting to that goal, getting to the finish line, the final end all, be all, whatever it is, the higher the percentage becomes. Period. So it's about developing processes. Now, Peter Coulson shoots with a Hasselblad. I've never even had the honor of holding a Hasselblad, let alone shooting with a Hasselblad. I would love to get my hands on an X1D, X2D, I'd love to get my hands on one. But then I gotta buy the lenses. And that could feed my family for an entire month. That could pay rent for a whole month. But then again, I look at my GH5 and GH6 and XH1 and S1 and Sigma FP and, well, I could get rid of all of them and buy a good Hasselblad. But I like playing around with too much gear. But my point is I'm pretty sure that I could hand Peter my cell phone and he could hand me his Hasselblad, and he and I are still going to be on completely separate pages of the image that we are able to acquire. The lighting would be different, the approach would be different, the process would be different. And how do I say this? The level of talent to begin with. Peter has devoted his life, I hope he doesn't mind me talking about him, but Peter has devoted his life to photography, whereas I went all over the place. I was a performing musician, a touring artist, a sound engineer, a producer, an actor, a model, a business owner. I flipped houses, an investor, a painter, and then I also did sports. I surfed and I snowboarded and I skateboarded and I played basketball up until college, and I've practiced progressive fighting systems since I was 8 years old. And I did all these different things. But I've loved my life. I've enjoyed my life. I've lived my life. But I never became that level, let's say, photographer that I wanted to be, because I never devoted myself to that one craft. And so, friends, if I can get you to walk away with one thing from this video today, it's either do one of two things. Go try everything for the experiences. Go love life, live life, enjoy a bit of everything, get the experiences, if that's what you're looking for. And that is what I was looking for. I enjoyed so much, I wanted to do so much, so I did. And fortunately, I was able to achieve a lot of goals in a lot of those things. But on the other end of that spectrum is, if you want to be the best at something, devote everything to it until you're the best. I like being known as being very good at something, and I am. I'm known around the world for my work in the kratom industry. I'm one of the top names in the kratom industry. But to many of you out there in the photography and video world, that probably means nothing. But to me, that's an achievement. I set out wanting to be a rock star when I was 18. I got to play on a stage in front of tens of thousands of people. I got to open up for one of my favorite bands of all time. I got to sing on one of the most legendary singers' albums ever. I got to sing with Patti LaBelle on one of her albums. So I could check that goal off that box. And at the same time, I lost my life multiple times. And I had to rewrite my life and rewrite my life over and over and over. So I want to encourage you out there to spend time internally. And, you know, nowadays it's like I've always got my headphones on because I'm always taking so many calls as a bodybuilding and addiction recovery coach. But then when I'm in between calls, I just forget my headphones are there. I don't even feel these. And then so instead I just watch YouTube videos. And I take up space in my head. And I entertain my mind rather than just closing my eyes, meditating or praying or thinking. And when we are overly consumptive, we consume too much, we're underly productive. So just remember that. All right, friends. Thanks for watching another video. I'll catch you next one.